You're listening to The Tales We Tell, a podcast about spooky stories, unsolved mysteries, and local lore. I'm your host, Hannah Parch.
And I'm Jarek.
Welcome to our home, Jarek.
Yeah. How's it going?
Great. How's
Good.
it going for you?
It's been a day. It's been a great day.
It has been a pretty good day.
Yeah.
We cleaned the house.
Walked downtown. Ate lunch on the river.
Bought someone's lunch.
Bought someone's lunch. Made them happy. Pretty sure she knew it was us.
I don't think she did because she came in and looked around.
Yeah. As I was there laughing, trying to get you to stare up at her.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we have a nephew being born tomorrow.
We do.
Very excited. Of course, by the time this comes out, he will already be born.
Yep.
And we will update everyone. Please put your phone on silent, sir.
Sorry, that was me.
Was that your mother?
Yeah, it was my mom.
Okay. Well, Jarek is stepping in today.
Yep.
So Jenna was supposed to record this one with us, but she couldn't make it. So Jarek kindly and valiantly stepped in.
Yep. I even did the dishes prior to coming and recording.
Are you drinking anything?
I am not. I'm staying sober so I can work tomorrow.
You said you were going to drink water, but
Yeah.
I noticed you didn't. Stop eyeing that water. That's a visual aid for later.
I could see that.
Okay. Well, I'm drinking the same box wine from last week.
Yep.
And I did actually have a plan, and I forgot to ask you to get lemonade on your way back.
It's okay.
So, because
I wasn't anywhere near a lemonade store.
I thought you were going to say near a lemonade stand.
Nope. Lemonade store.
Okay. All right. Oh, yes. Let's do our socials at the top of the show. Jarek, do you know our socials?
I do.
All right. You're definitely not reading them off of a business card.
I'm definitely not.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. We have an email, but we like to be followed on Instagram, and that's the Tales We Tell podcast. We answer all of our messages there. We love hearing from people. We love hearing from new listeners. We love hearing from everybody in general. Hannah's very responsive when she can be. We have a email at thetaleswetellpodcast@gmail.com.
It's not at the Tales We Tell podcast. It's just the Tales We Tell podcast.
The Tales We Tell podcast @gmail.com.
There you go.
We also have a website at www.thetaleswetellpodcast.com.
There's a dot in there.
Yep.
www.
Everybody knows.
I'm just saying, you didn't say it. You had to say the www part.
Mm-hmm. We have a Redbubble store. We can go ahead and get our logos on a lot of products.
Yep.
Hats, shirts, stickers.
Can confirm.
Yep.
The new crow design that we put out looks great on a hat because our listener Amanda purchased a hat and sent us a picture. And it looks fantastic.
We don't do Twitter because I don't understand it.
We tried for a while and then we're like, it's too much.
And I think I got all of them.
I think you did.
We love your guys' support. We love hearing from you each week.
Okay, our listener, I believe their name is Mo. Their Instagram handle is @BigSkyEnvy. And they correctly commented our movie reference from last week, which was The Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
Congratulations. You win this shout out on the podcast.
Also, feel free to message us. We will go ahead and send you stickers.
Yeah, send us your address. We'll send you stickers. On that note, we are trying to get, I know I promised new design stickers to patrons. Those are still coming. We're just working on getting them printed. So hang tight. You'll get some surprise mail eventually. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I had to let everyone know that this was originally a Jenna episode is because it is a Canadian episode. Okay. And
Tim Hortons.
This is the story of the Boozey Barber.
Never heard of it.
I would assume you hadn't.
I have heard of Tim Hortons, which is Canadian.
It is Canadian. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay. So Gilbert Paul Jordan is the guy we're talking about. He was born December 12th, 1931 as Gilbert Paul Elsie in Vancouver, Canada. We don't know a lot about his childhood or upbringing. He always refused to talk about his early childhood. He said in order to protect his family. Who knows?
That's understandable.
It is, but I also want to know why he is the way he is. So his parents divorced when he was young. It wasn't like a messy divorce. The kids went to live with their dad. His older brother, Bud, insisted that he and Gilbert, and I assume all of the children, did not experience any trauma or abuse during their childhood. So Bud, the brother, says, nope, we had a perfectly normal childhood, no trauma.
Good.
Their father didn't have any history of alcohol abuse, and their mother actually didn't, keep any alcohol in the house at all. She didn't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
But by 16, Gilbert had dropped out of high school and developed a pretty serious drinking habit.
I was wondering where this was going because it seemed like you were leading.
You're like, I don't care that his dad didn't have an alcohol
problem. That's okay. I understand.
Well, this is why I was going to have us, if it was earlier in the day and not a Sunday, I would have us drinking vodka or something.
I understand. Oh, this is a rough episode.
No, it's not. Just because vodka's his drink of choice.
Okay.
That was the only reason. Which I guess probably we shouldn't be drinking in honor of the killer.
No.
Okay. Well.
Spoiler.
Spoiler that the Boozey Barber is a killer.
Yeah. I would have just assumed he just gave bad haircuts.
Oh my gosh, what if that was the whole episode?
That's what I was hoping.
And he got sued for it. So when I say that he had developed a pretty serious drinking habit, he was drinking, allegedly, upwards of 50 ounces of vodka a day. That is why I have this visual.
I can see that visual. That only says 46, though.
Well, here's a funny story. So I had to visualize everything. So I was like, oh, what does 50 ounces look like? So I went into our kitchen and I got our little glass measuring cup and I was like, okay, I will measure whatever. So I filled up the wine bottle first.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I was wondering why we had an extra bottle of sea glass.
No, that's water.
It's just all water.
It's water.
I was like, wow. I was like, all right.
And then I filled up this little tumbler and I couldn't get it to 50.
Mm-hmm.
And then later I looked it up and I could have just said 2 wine bottles is about 50 ounces.
Interesting.
So I don't know if by 16 he was drinking that much, but at some point in his life he was allegedly drinking about 2 wine bottles worth of vodka every day. For context, that is over 33 vodka lemonades, if made correctly. 33 vodka lemonades.
The lemonade helps.
I actually put that reference in there for Taylor because that's her drink of choice, is vodka lemonade.
He's probably having them with lemonade so you can get it down easier.
Oh, I don't think he's drinking them with lemonade. I think he's drinking straight vodka. So if you are drinking, I think 4 ounces is what goes into, well, okay, wait.
A regular shot? Or a regular drink?
No, that can't be right. I think 1.5 ounces is...
Wow, that would be a lot. 4 ounces?
Hold on, I figured out how I did my math. So let's be generous and say that this person drinking this much is awake for 12 hours a day. If you are awake 12 hours a day, you would have to be drinking 4 ounces of alcohol every hour to get to 50.
He could have just done it in a few hours and drank an entire bottle.
We will get to why that is not physically possible.
Okay.
Also, we are going to talk a little bit about blood alcohol content later. But, for reference, Gilbert's, according to Wikipedia, weighed about 174 pounds. So, a 174-pound male, after drinking 4 ounces of vodka, would have a blood alcohol of 0.051 after 1 hour. And for reference, the legal limit is 0.08.
So he's pushing it.
So in an hour, he's buzzed. After 12 hours and 50 ounces total, his blood alcohol content would be 0.65, which is almost dead.
That's fucking death.
I know! We'll get to how that is basically dead. I don't know what his poor liver was doing, but...
me.
I know. I'm just like shriveled up and dried up. By 21, Gilbert had a pretty extensive criminal record. So he...
How? How?
Why? Because he's drunk all the time?
Maybe pumpkin. Public drunkenness? How can you physically do anything after
He was a very high-functioning alcoholic.
He was one of those stupid people that said, I drive better while I'm drunk.
I think he just built up, because he started drinking at such a young age,
Mm-hmm.
I think he just built up his tolerance. And he was just like... Which, I mean, we'll get to it, but he goes to jail a bunch of times, and, like, he had to sober up in jail.
Imagine the downswing.
Imagine that hangover every time. Like, that alone would be enough to keep me out of jail.
I know how it feels when I have coffee withdrawals.
I was going to say, Jarek knows how it feels to be in withdrawal because he's a drug addict. You know how when you stop drinking and then you...
I just go straight to drugs. What did I tell you the other day? I was like...
That you could be... For context,
mm-hmm.
Jarek wanted to drive like an hour's distance away to go to a Dungeons and Dragons store, and I did not want to go with him, which I'm glad I made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
When you texted me and you were like, oh, I'm nowhere close to coming home. I was like, good to know that I'm here. What did you say when I complained about it?
You didn't necessarily complain. I said... Here's the thing. If you're going to complain about me playing video games or playing Dungeons and Dragons, I want to be like, what do you want me to do? Just go straight to fucking drugs? Like,
to be fair, I am not complaining that you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Because I'm happy that you've met some people. And I wasn't complaining that I didn't have to go with you to the Dungeons and Dragons store. I realize you could be into weirder stuff like drugs.
Yeah, I could be.
You could be.
I could be.
You're not.
No.
Okay.
I could be into vodka and lemonade. I can get on board with that.
Well, Gilbert was into drugs.
Okay.
Because one of his criminal charges was possession of heroin.
Oh.
Also, general assault. Also, car theft. Also, just regular theft.
No DUIs or anything?
Not that was listed in the sources that I read.
No way.
In addition to all of these fun traits about him, he was also likely a sex addict. I don't know.
With all the vodka, I can imagine.
He was I don't know. You would kind of think the opposite if you're like super drunk.
There's a saying. It's called whiskey dick.
Yeah.
Not vodka dick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe vodka dick is different.
Mm.
Maybe vodka dick is the opposite. Okay, so he's just got a raging boner all the time.
Yep.
So he is seeing a lot of prostitutes.
Knew it.
He saw approximately 200 prostitutes a year.
Holy
Most of his friends were alcoholics also. And he explained this by saying, quote, sober people won't go out with me, so I didn't have much of an option. I didn't want to drink in my room all by myself.
That's a good point.
It's not a good point. Those are not your only options, Gilbert.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen those people that says, I'm not drinking alone. I have a dog. Okay. Those are the type of people that you have to worry about.
Okay. You know that I sleep in a t-shirt that says that.
Oh,
so
yeah. That's where I read
shut
that.
your mouth. It says it's not drinking alone if the dog is home.
There you go. I understand.
Okay. I'm just pointing out to Gilbert that those are not your only two options, is drinking alone or drinking with other people. You could not drink at all and do lots of other activities. Okay, so his criminal activity is about to begin. It is 1961, and police find Gilbert with a 5-year-old Aboriginal girl in his car.
Oof.
And... yeah, there's not a way to make it look good.
I've been watching a lot of To Catch a Predator recently with Chris Hansen.
That's not where I thought that was going to go. I thought you were going to be like, I've been watching a lot of cold case files lately.
No. This is To Catch a Predator. Like,
And
listen, whoever's listening to this podcast, I'm not giving you a heads up. This is not a pre-warning, but every single one that I've watched, the fake girl has always been 13 years old. Always.
yeah,
That should be... This goes to
should
show...
be your warning.
This goes to show how desperate some of these people are to go after children. And it is sickening.
I would just say, if you're listening to our podcast and you are someone who is a legal adult and you are talking to a 13-year-old in that manner, please stop both of those activities. Stop listening to our podcast and stop talking to that child.
Yeah, that is no bueno.
So it's unclear if this child had been harmed, and I believe Gilbert was charged with kidnapping, but the charges did not stick to him. They just slid right off.
That's bad.
Later that year, a drunken Gilbert threatened to jump off the Lionsgate Bridge. And
should have let him.
And he was arrested. And then when he was in court, still drunk apparently, he gave the Nazi salute to the judge. And judges don't like when you do that. So
how many years prison sentence did he get?
Unclear. He was found in contempt of court for that one.
Okay.
And I will say the timeline got very confusing for me. And he is kind of in and out of jail, but he does not spend a really significant amount of time in jail.
So he was never reformed, I'm assuming, since...
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Okay. In 1963, he was charged with theft and rape. And this is because he had lured 2 women to his car by inviting them to drink. And then once they got in, he drove a short distance away, gave them tons of vodka, just like tons and tons of vodka.
Well, it's known to carry 50 ounces. So that's a lot.
He's like dipping into his own supply. And when one of the women got out of the car to get some fresh air because she was probably drunk and didn't feel great, Gilbert locked the door and drove off with the other girl. And he allegedly raped the other woman and then pushed her out of the car and drove off with both of their purses. And that was his mistake because obviously he's arrested. The rape charges were dropped due to lack of evidence, which sucks. But they did convict him of theft because he was found with both purses.
So this was the 1960s?
Yes. 63.
So that was the time when a woman spoke up about, it still almost is a time women are afraid to come out because a lot of times the court dismiss charges like this.
Yeah, and also a lot of the stuff with him is they just don't have the evidence for it. So there's one that we'll get to, and he gets charged with the lesser crime, but he ultimately is acquitted of the bigger crimes because there's just not any evidence for it. And we will also get to why that is. So in 1965, Gilbert picks up a 52-year-old switchboard operator named Ivy Rose Oswald. So Ivy went by Doreen, and he brings Doreen to a sketchy hotel. And the following day, her naked body is found in the hotel room, and she is deceased. According to a local newspaper clipping, which is from the Nanaimo Daily News. Going with that.
I believe you.
Okay. This is January 18th, 1965. Quote, an autopsy showed the woman had choked to death and foul play was ruled out. But her blood alcohol content at the time of her death was 0.5.
What's the legal limit again?
0.08.
Ooh.
Yeah. Gilbert realized that there was no way to prove that her death had been caused by him, and there's speculation that perhaps at this point he didn't really know that.
So he just blamed it on her drinking too much.
So he actually called the police and he was like, hey, I woke up and this girl that I had invited up to my room with me was dead, and I don't know what happened. Okay, you ready for some fun facts about alcohol poisoning?
Yeah, here's the thing. because I don't drink a lot,
Uh-huh.
or I don't drink enough and do stupid things to understand blood alcohol level. Mm-hmm. That's why I still always have to ask what the legal limit is.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to
Because
explain.
I don't have a clue. So yeah, this is going to be very informational.
Very informative. This is, I told you earlier today, I was on the website. It was, I don't know, like alcoholaddiction.org or something. And doing this research. And after you're on that site for like 5 minutes, you get a nice little pop-up. And it's like, are you ready to get help? Are you scared to talk to someone? Send us your information and we'll text you. So, anyways,
that's good.
The FBI agent who is monitoring all of my online activity now thinks that I'm an alcoholic. Okay, so here's some fun facts about alcohol poisoning. So your blood alcohol content is measuring the percentage of alcohol per volume of blood.
In your lungs.
In your blood.
Oh.
Not in your lungs. Why would you think your lungs?
I know blowing into the BP machine, that's how they get your alcohol level.
That's how they, a breathalyzer.
Yeah, it comes from your lungs.
I think they're measuring like the I don't know, like the...
I could be wrong.
The vapor.
I'll have to figure that out later because you can't necessarily trick a
We should get one of those, by the way.
For what purpose?
For funsies. So we already said the legal limit for driving, at least in the United States, is 0.08.
It should be 0.00.
Okay. Well, what that means is that there are 0.08 grams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood.
Okay.
I tried to break it down further, and it just was not happening. Okay. So 0.4 is usually when you die from, like, that's when you have the toxic amount of blood or of alcohol in your blood or blood in your alcohol.
Yeah, it becomes
neither
one
of those are
at
good.
that point.
To get to a 0.4, you have to drink a ton of alcohol in a short amount of time. So you can't get to it like over the course of
hours
of the day. I mean,
right.
Unless you're like Gilbert and you're drinking 50, like all you're doing is drinking vodka.
Right.
You can get to a 0.3 by chugging 12 beers in a row. However, at 0.3, you are going to black out. Also, because I was drinking Mayomi, my favorite wine, when I was researching this, 4.5 bottles of Mayomi, which is 13.7%, that specific wine is.
Within a short period.
In an hour, for someone my size, would be, I would be at a 0.49%.
Yeah, you'd be dead.
So 4.5 bottles of my favorite wine and I'm dead. So alcohol poisoning occurs basically when parts of your brain that control basic life functions like breathing or making your heart beat
starts to slowly shut down.
Start to shut down.
Yep. I guess it's almost like, no, it can't be.
Like
That's
what?
dumb. I'm not even going to say it. Like when you're cold, your fingers and feet go numb because your body's taking away the heat from those areas and sending blood to vital organs to be able to keep that alive.
Well, one of the symptoms of alcohol poisoning is hypothermia. So that might be it.
Really? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I know. Other symptoms or signs are going to be loss of consciousness, obviously.
Yep.
Vomiting, obviously. Mm-hmm. Slowed breathing, which means less than 8 breaths per minute.
Holy cow.
Also, irregular breathing, which is 10 or more seconds between breaths. I just want to say, too.
It's almost like my sleeping.
I was going to say.
Yep.
Sometimes when I'm laying awake at night trying to sleep, and you're next to me, because I've learned, okay, I'm slowly learning, because, usually what do I do when you're snoring?
Wake me up.
I wake
you up.
Wake me up. Yeah, because it's loud.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been trying an experiment where I'm like, okay, what if I just let this play out? Sometimes that goes poorly because sometimes you go from very soft snoring to like the loudest snoring. You're waking me and the dogs up, and I don't know how you're not waking yourself up. Mm-hmm. But lately, if I just kind of let it go, you kind of peter off a little bit, but your breathing is real irregular. And I feel like we need to do that sleep study again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Other symptom I didn't mention was seizures. So, this episode of The Tales We Tell is brought to you by the Crafty Criminologist. Do you love cute and creepy stationery and stickers? What about ghoulish earrings and adorable ghosts? Then check out The Crafty Criminologist on Etsy and Instagram. She makes stickers, jewelry, study guides, and more. Just go to etsy.com and search @Crafty Criminologist and be sure to use code TheTalesWeTell at checkout for 15% off your order. That's TheTalesWeTell for 15% off. A few days after Doreen's death, so Doreen has just died, remember?
Right.
That was just our little fun fact corner. A few days after her death, Gilbert applied to change his name from his last name from Elsie to Jordan.
Grape. Oh.
To what? Grape?
What? Yeah.
That is what I was thinking of. I was like, oh, Gilbert Grape.
Yep.
Little Johnny Depp. So he changes his name. So now he is Gilbert Jordan.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio did not play Gilbert.
Oh.
He played Arnie.
Oh, yeah. Arnie. My bad. I thought that whole movie was about
Gilbert it's about Grape. What's eating Gilbert Grape, and that's Leonardo DiCaprio. A lot of things are eating at him. His controlling sister, his mother, the way people talk about his mother, his autistic brother, Leonardo DiCaprio, his affair he's having with that lady.
That one's his fault.
I mean, yeah, that one is his fault, but it's still eating at him.
Oh, that movie makes sense. Holy cow.
That's one of those weird movies I've seen like a bunch of times for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Almost like the Goonies. Hey, you guys.
I have not seen the Goonies more than once, I don't think.
But you know that line.
Yeah, I know that line.
Everybody knows that
Obviously.
line. Okay.
Do the truffle shuffle. Okay. Between 1965 and 1974, Gilbert racks up a number of additional criminal charges, including drunk driving.
They got one.
Finally, multiple drunk driving.
Oh, let's count that as 3.
Okay. Indecent act in a public place, indecent exposure, and indecent assault.
I'm saying 6.
Okay. In 1971, so in that period, he starts dating a 46-year-old divorcee named Renona. And...
Quick question.
Yes.
Do you have a picture of Gilbert?
I do.
Because I want to know what's eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh. Buddy.
Yeah, he's not the... He doesn't look like an alcoholic, though.
No.
Like...
He is showing no... For some reason, odd reason, there were 10 signs of alcoholism that I happened to click on from, like, when you pull up a new Google page.
Mm-hmm.
And I clicked on it by accident.
Oh, no.
And now my Facebook is all littered with, like, alcohol-related things. And...
So now you'll be aware of the 10 signs of alcoholism, and I already know where to go for help.
Yeah. Hannah. I'm here for you.
One of the signs is like...
You are okay.
Like a bloated red face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, he doesn't look...
He has 0 signs of alcoholism
maybe
in that picture.
Maybe he'd been in jail. Well, I don't know.
We'll get it figured out.
Okay. So he starts dating Renona, but this did not stop his habit of hiring prostitutes. Although it seems that Renona was unaware of all of this. Because in 1973, Renona married Gilbert. Mm. That was a big year for Gilbert, because also in 1973, Gilbert, who is now 41, invites a group of children back to his house to watch TV, normal stuff, and exposed himself to them while he was there. So that's the...
Sounds like a regular old Pee Wee Herman.
That's the indecent exposure part. Also, that same year, he picked up a woman who had pulled over on the side of the road because of car trouble. I actually think it's because she ran out of gas, which, relatable. And he convinced her to get into his car so he could drive her home. Don't do that, anyone. And then he sexually assaulted her. The same year, like I'm saying, big year, got married, one assault, one indecent exposure. So the same year, he sees a woman, he's driving home from the grocery store, and he sees a woman standing alone at like a bus stop or something. It's cold. So he offers to give her a ride home. She says yes. He says, I have to stop at my house real quick and drop my groceries off. And she said, okay, I'll help you bring them in. So they take them inside, and he offers her a hot buttered rum. What are your thoughts on hot liquor drinks?
I've never had one.
Really?
Yep. Actually, that's not true, because you made us peppermint schnapps hot cocoa one year for Christmas.
Every year for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Every year for Christmas. The candy canes are a little overkill. I think the peppermint schnapps alone does it.
Yeah. They're okay. I mean, with hot chocolate, yes.
I think my mom made me a hot toddy one year at Christmas time.
I don't know a lot of alcoholic drinks besides the normals.
I'm just not, I don't know.
Old fashions.
Hot buttered rum just doesn't sound good.
Whiskeys in general. Sex on the beach. That's pretty much all I know.
Well, he is like, I have this buttered rum that I guess I'll put in the microwave and warm it up for you. So she accepts. She sucks that stuff down.
Phrasing.
She does. That's what it says. She drank it really fast. And he made her another one. And so she got drunk.
Sucked that one down too, huh?
Probably.
That hot butter rum.
He didn't heat it up enough. So she gets drunk. She passes out. When she woke up, Gilbert is standing there with his pants down and tries to convince her to have sex with him. When she says no, he rapes her. After that, he fell asleep, and this woman was like, I'm going to go and go to the police. And I think that this is the sentence. So he ends up at the end of this year with a 2-year prison sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what does it. Unsure. Not surprisingly at all, Gilbert was physically abusive towards his wife while they were married. She was admitted to the hospital once in 1973 and twice in 1974, and each time she refused to explain how she got her injuries.
Didn't he get married in 1973?
Yes.
Jeez.
And that was his big year where he committed all of these crimes.
Probably got upset that he got caught or something.
Well, and there was some speculation that he would take out his frustrations. Either he would take out his frustrations with his crimes on his wife, or he would take out his frustrations with his wife on strangers in the form of crimes.
That makes sense.
This is just to give you a little snapshot of Gilbert's personality.
Does it make sense now that I yell at people online?
Who do you yell at online?
Remember?
Oh, yeah, your stupid Apex game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
It doesn't... well, okay. Okay.
Almost popped a blood vessel.
This is an audio medium. No one can see what you just did.
Hold on. I bet you. Yeah,
okay.
Hold on. Anything?
No, but tell us what you think, Jarek. I don't know, the gesture you just made. That he somehow thought if he did hard enough that we could all hear it. If you know...
I'll get a picture.
If you know, let me know.
Okay.
On one of those socials that we mentioned at the beginning. Okay, so this is our little snapshot of Gilbert's fun, charming personality. So during one of Renona's hospital stays, Gilbert repeatedly called the hospital demanding that she be discharged and threatening them if they didn't. They did not. And during another hospital stay, this was after that happened because Gilbert wasn't allowed to visit due to his past behavior.
I wonder why.
And so he disguised himself and snuck in to try to, quote, break her out.
Just eat your fucking salad.
He was very quickly recognized.
Get hard.
And escorted out.
That's so funny.
Is that from that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I always forget the name of it.
When Will Ferrell has the fake mustache on and he comes in after cutting off his ankle bracelet. And his wife's eating lunch with some girls. He's like, hey, it's me. She's like, I know. He's like, I need to talk to you. And they say something. He just turns to them and goes, just eat your fucking salad.
You know what movie I'm getting that confused with? Is the Good Guys. The Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
The Shut Up Janet or something.
Oh, yeah.
Eat your fucking salad, Janet. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you got those two.
Okay.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
This is my life, everyone. This is what I have to live with. Okay, so he gets recognized and is escorted out. In October of 1975, Raynona decides to leave him. Thank goodness. She very smartly gets a police escort to the airport where she gets on a plane that's going to go to California.
Nice.
And Gilbert calls in a bomb threat to the airport.
Holy cow.
No one was hurt because obviously there was no bomb. And Gilbert didn't get prosecuted because the plane hadn't actually taken off when he called in the threat. And I guess that there's a difference for that. So, at some point, the Crown, which is what they call the government in Canada, I assume, tries to get him declared as a dangerous offender, but the request was denied. And they even, during their request, they called in a psychiatrist who had examined Gilbert when he was in prison in 1962, and the psychiatrist had diagnosed him with antisocial personality disorder. But they were like, well, that was a long time ago. Yeah. So it doesn't count.
Things don't change like that.
They're like, that was in 1962. Now it's 1975. It's fine.
Interesting.
As a side note here, apparently Gilbert had inherited a bunch of money and then invested it really well. And so he had like...
vodka money?
Yeah, I mean, like... Because my question when I was first doing this research, I was like, how is he getting money? Like, if
I was going to ask that right in the beginning.
Constantly drunk. Like, what's he doing to stay alive?
Well, there are some cheap vodkas out there, so you just substitute one meal for another. Yeah.
That aristocrat vodka.
Oh, thank you.
It's like $4 for a large amount. He did have a small fortune, and he was able to hire a really good lawyer. So that's how he's getting out of a lot of this stuff, is he has a really good lawyer, on his side.
That makes sense.
In February of 1977, Gilbert abducted and raped a woman from a mental institution whose name was Nora. And he abducted her by convincing her he was a doctor. And according to, a witness at this trial, Nora, although she was, an adult woman, just had the mental capacity of a child. Oof. So Gilbert drove her to a hotel in Edmonton, and for 3 days, he drank nothing but vodka. Shocker. And he beat and raped Nora, and then he stole the jewelry she was wearing, which, how much jewelry can she be wearing? And why do you need to take it? We just established that you have money.
It's almost like a prize.
Ugh, gross.
Think about it. You know this.
Yeah, like a trophy.
Yeah, trophy. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for the word.
Yeah.
I could not think of it.
Also, I want to take this opportunity to point out how stupid, for such a dumb criminal, good grief. So the next thing he does, Gilbert puts her back in the car, drives west. While he's driving, he's like, you know what? I feel like having sex again. So he pulls over, rapes Nora again, and while he's doing this, a police officer sees his car parked on the side of the road and is like, that's weird, and catches him and arrests him.
Nice.
So, that vodka dick is really getting him in trouble. So, he is charged with kidnapping and also, quote, sexual intercourse with a feeble-minded person. Also, abduction of a female with intent to rape. Also, assault. He's denied bail, and he does have to stay in prison for about 2 years while awaiting trial. But when the trial happens, Nora isn't allowed to testify because of her developmental disorder.
That's a shame.
And without her testimony, the case against Gilbert for the rape and assault is pretty weak. So he is acquitted of all charges except for assault. He's sentenced to 26 months, but guess what? He's already been in prison for 26 months waiting for trial.
Oh, no. That's one of those things where it's time served.
Time served. So he walks away.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
What year was this?
This was 1977.
Man, they should have had this shit together back then.
So, in November of 1979, Gilbert met 42-year-old Mary Johnson. And it's unclear if they were dating or if they were just hanging out or drinking buddies or whatever. But at one point, Mary expressed to her sister-in-law that she was scared for her life, but she wouldn't give her any more details than that. She just said, I feel like someone's trying to kill me. A week after calling her, Mary's body was found in the Almer Hotel in Quebec. Her blood alcohol content was 0.34. Despite her sister-in-law's concerns, because she was like, Mary called me a week ago and said she thought someone was trying to kill her, police ruled Mary's death an accident. Basically, alcohol poisoning. In September of 81, 27-year-old Barbara Ann Paul was found dead in another hotel with a blood alcohol of 0.41. She sometimes worked as a prostitute, so authorities didn't think twice about ruling her death accidental as well. Also, here's a fun time to mention that I tried to look into exactly how many, but most of these women, like Mary Johnson and Barbara Paul, were both indigenous people. So native people. So Gilbert not only is an alcoholic and a criminal and a bad person, but probably a little bit racist.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Sounds about right. So this is also a fun time to tell you that during one of the times that Gilbert was incarcerated, he took a vocational course on barbering. And in the early 1980s, he opened up a barbershop in Vancouver's East Side, which is like the shady side, and he called it the Slocan Barbershop. And not surprisingly, Gilbert used his barbershop not just for cutting hair, but after hours he would invite women over to drink.
It's starting to make sense. I've been wondering how his name came to be.
The Boozey Barber.
Well, because I keep hearing stories of how all these women are dying from alcohol poisoning, but I'm like,
oh, we'll get to it.
Where did the barber come in?
Yeah. Well, and also, you gotta think at this point, it's getting a little expensive to get hotel rooms every time you want to kill someone.
That's true, but if he had a bunch of money already saved up.
I know, it's very unclear. So between July of 1982 and June of 1985, 3 women died of alcohol poisoning in his barbershop. Their names were Mary Johns, Patricia Thomas, and Patricia Andrew. I believe all 3 of them were also indigenous. At least 2 of them were. I couldn't quite tell in the last one. I couldn't find information. It's not like I looked at a picture of her to judge. All 3 deaths were ruled accidental. Gilbert did report the deaths to police under advice from his lawyer, but all of them were known sex workers and or alcoholics, and so again, authorities didn't question the circumstances of their deaths.
When are people going to put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah. Which also, I feel like he's doing this kind of all over.
Right.
So it's well, I don't know, but
enough bodies show up around one person that have alcohol poisoning should be an
how
indicator.
Many people are dying of alcohol poisoning around this person?
Yeah.
On October 11th of 1987, Gilbert spent the evening at the Niagara Hotel in Vancouver with 27-year-old Vanessa Lee Buckner. So Vanessa was known to sometimes work as a sex worker. She was also known to be a moderate drinker. And so her and Gilbert just go to the hotel to have fun. And Gilbert leaves multiple times during the evening to get more booze, which doesn't make sense to me. Just
I think it'd have it stocked up, so
yeah,
you don't have to be noticed going in and out.
Yeah, because you can go to the liquor store and buy 3 bottles of something, and if you make someone drink all that, they die.
Yeah, but just remember, he drinks 50 on his own.
That's true.
So that's 2 bottles right there.
That's true. He leaves a bunch of times and comes back.
Okay.
He left for good at 6 a.m. the following morning. And I have a question here. Does he not get hungover? Because 6 a.m. I guess he could have just been awake that whole time.
The cumulative drinking.
But, gosh.
Probably started drinking in the morning so he doesn't get that hangover.
Ugh, I can never do that. So Gilbert leaves at 6. Vanessa never leaves. At 7:40 a.m., police receive an anonymous phone call that directed them to the room that Gilbert and Vanessa had stayed at the Niagara Hotel. And inside, they found Vanessa's nude body. Black fluid was pooled around her mouth and nose. And her blood alcohol content, do you want to guess?
0.53.
Nope.
0.67.
Nope.
0.81.
Nope.
Higher?
Yep.
Oh, man. What?
0.9.
Oh.
0.9. That is like 10
It's
times the legal limit. Like
that's killing almost 3 people.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. This is what I'm not understanding. I don't get how police look at that and they look at that information. You physically cannot drink yourself to a 0.9.
Yeah.
Because at 0.3, you're passing out. And your body is like, hello, self-preservation. It's like how you can't hold your breath and like suffocate yourself that way. Because you'll pass out and your body's like, time to breathe again.
Yeah.
Smart.
I just can't imagine, because I can't imagine like how it's done. He's probably tying them down or getting them so drunk that they're passed out, and then he's pouring more alcohol into them.
If you were drinking, I'd make you take a drink because that counts as you guessing or jumping ahead.
Not jumping ahead, it just makes logical sense.
Okay, well, okay.
Okay.
So I took a drink in your honor.
Thanks.
So police were able to track the call or trace the call to the Marble Arch Hotel, but there wasn't anyone there. I mean, there were people there, but you know. So it didn't really go anywhere. And then a month later, the body of a woman named Edna Shade was found at a different hotel. Her cause of death was also alcohol poisoning, and there were fingerprints at this scene. And those fingerprints matched
Gilbert.
Grape. So police put him under surveillance at this point because they don't have enough to like get him.
Right.
So they watch him for 11 days, during which time they witnessed him take 4 different women to hotel rooms to drink. And this is a quote of what they heard him say. Have a drink, down the hatch, baby, $20 if you drink it right down. See if you're a real woman. Finish that drink, down the hatch, hurry, right now. You need another drink, I'll give you $50 if you can take it. And for the record, police did intervene during like all 4 of these situations. 2 of the 4 women that they like basically rescued had blood alcohol of 0.52 and 0.43. Which again, you pass out at 0.3 basically, depending on like body weight and stuff. But basically what he was doing was exactly what you said. He would get people to drink willingly with him, and then after they passed out, he would force more alcohol into their bodies. I don't fully understand how he did it, because if you pour liquid down an unconscious person's throat,
probably a tube.
Oh.
Or, unfortunately, in other areas.
Well, I don't think he's smart enough to do that.
Well, you got to be smart enough to also think that he's paying prostitutes money that they're going out, probably having sex with them for less than what he's probably giving them for actually drinking the amount of alcohol that he's giving them. Right. Or the amount of money that he's giving for them to drink alcohol is probably more than he's actually paying to have sex with them. So for them to go ahead and drink that much,
well, yeah, and
that's a pretty smart way, in a sense of like he knows they're going to take the money and probably drink.
Also, unless his thing is just having sex with unconscious women, because he was doing that too. He would drink them to unconsciousness, and then he would rape them.
Yep.
And then he would force more alcohol into their system.
I mean, I guess we'll never know.
But like, you could also just pay a prostitute to have sex with you without killing her.
He probably started off that way.
Well, on his last attempted victim, when police intervened, he was laying on top of the unconscious body of a woman, basically pouring vodka down her throat. He was arrested, and they were able to link him to the deaths of at least 10 women. They were only able to charge him with the deaths of 7, and he was only convicted of 1. And
that's enough. That's enough to get him put away. What?
So, the only one that he was convicted of was Vanessa Lee Buckner, which is...
she was a while ago.
Yeah, she was a while ago. So he's convicted of manslaughter. He's sentenced to 15 years. And he appealed that sentence and got it down to 9 years. And this is a quote from the judge who oversaw the appeal. Quote, although the appellant has left a trail of 7 victims, the last was the first occasion when persons in authority in a forceful and realistic manner brought to the appellant's attention the fact that supplying substantial quantities of liquor to women who were prepared to drink with him was a contributing cause of their deaths for which he might be held criminally responsible. Basically, I feel like what he's saying is that
they were contributing to their own deaths.
Well, no, he's saying that the last victim was the first time Gilbert had been made aware by law enforcement that forcing alcohol onto an unconscious person could kill them. They're like, they're
trying to loophole this thing.
Well, it's like, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a sanity trial at that point. It's like, well, does he understand logic?
When somebody has passed away multiple times, you get a sense.
Well, and it's like, if they have passed out, what makes you think that, and then you poured more alcohol into them, what makes you think that didn't contribute to their death?
I can see both sides, because if you think about it this way, he is able to drink such a substantial amount that he feels like they should probably, quote, catch up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which probably puts him over the edge.
Well,
and he probably gets off on watching that happen.
I just don't...
Or he gets upset that they can't drink. Mm-hmm. So he probably doesn't enrage while he's pouring.
Yeah, I just... The weirdest thing to me about this was his motive. Because it's like, what was his motive? And then there's also like that
was probably his motive right there, is that like they can't keep up with his drinking.
Yeah.
That when they passed out, he just probably said, fuck it, finish the bottle, and continued to do. Yeah. I don't know.
So his sentence for killing Vanessa Lee Buckner was appealed down to 9 years. He served 6 of those. In 2000, he applied to change his name again to Paul Pierce, but that was denied.
Good.
And on July 7th of 2006, he died a free man.
Piece of shit.
Yep. I tried to look up and see how he died.
Well, when did he get out of prison?
I don't know, because I also tried to look up just like an actual timeline of his convictions.
Yeah, because that probably meant he probably killed some more people after that.
It was the late 80s when he was caught.
What year was he born again?
31.
So he was only in his 50s, almost early 60s, right? No, 70s.
Yeah, he was in his 70s when he died.
And
I tried to look up how he died, and I couldn't find it. And then I was like, oh, well, duh, his liver probably gave out.
Yeah.
His liver probably quit.
I agree. Well, let's just be glad that he's dead. He's a horrible person.
I will say that there's a podcast called Serial Killers that's on Parcast, the Parcast Network. And I got a lot of my information from them. They did, I think, a 2-part episode.
Cool.
And that was last year. They go way more in depth. I don't know where they found all their information, because I swear I looked everywhere, and every site that had any kind of story on him just was retelling the same timeline that I knew. So
right.
If you want a more in-depth look at that, you can look at the Serial Killers podcast. If not, and you're happy with ours, then thank you. And
thanks for listening.
We'll see you guys next week. I do have a special guest lined up for next week. That's not you. Oh. And that's not Jenna.
Don't tell me.
Okay.
I already know.
Okay. Anyways, if you want to, find out who the special guest is, I will say, from everything I've heard, Katie is still doing wonderfully. That little critter of hers is very cute.
Good.
She's very much in love with him. You can tell. And, she misses you guys, and we miss her. But she's got a cute baby, so, there's that. Anyways, thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.